Hello there! Today's project is an entire Sigma Bungou Stray Dogs cosplay, and also my first real YouTube video. Up until March of 2024, when I started this project, I had only made green jackets and green jackets exclusively, but that was about to change. I'm a simp, old guy. I see a funky jacket, and I make a funky jacket. So let's make the funky jasket. By the way, it's been almost an entire year since I started this project, and I have the memory of a goldfish. So this video is definitely not going to show you anything useful about sewing because I don't remember what I did. However, in lieu of memories, I do have the footage and the old script. So let's remove some layers and start with the basics. No, not that many. Sigma has 4 clothing articles under his vest jacket thing, all of which I have never made before. My plan was to make everything from scratch, and I do mean everything, but there is a reason I said was, other than me writing this whole script in past tense. I got the wool for the sweater, and I got the right knitting needles for the sweater, and I actually did test and completed multiple sleeves, but my knitting speed, quality, and knowledge were simply not enough to freehand this pattern, and I really didn't want to drag out this project any longer. Did I mention this whole project took me from March to September, and that I never knit anything before attempting this? How shocking it didn't work out. The dress shirt did work out, however, on my second attempt, but I don't have the footage of that, so we're going through the first one. I got a free pattern from Unfettered Patterns, but I couldn't find this specific one I used, and cut it out size S. Should have done XXS. I tackled the collar first, poorly. I'm stupid. What happened? I needed to put the right sides together, and I put the wrong sides together. So I prepared the base structure. Okay, back to the collar. Correctly, this time. I attach it by ironing down the small seam allowance on the bottom of the collar, finding the middle, pinning it down, and drawing a line exactly where I'm gonna sew, because it won't be even otherwise. The sleeves, holy shit, my desk was messy. The sleeves, I did have to pattern myself, but it wasn't that hard. I took the bit I cut off and traced the top curve on some paper and filled in the rest in a flared out shape to get that volume, the oomph, the incredible inconvenience of the sleeves when you're working in a concealed, like, I got ketchup on that thing the first time I wore it, and it's still there because I can't wash it on the second shirt, not the well, okay, you know what I mean. I cut out 2 of the same sleeves so I could bagline the 2 pieces, since there would be visible seams and seam allowances on the inside otherwise. Did that, then attached the sleeves. Remember to iron things. It's better to do it when the pieces are separate, but I didn't want to accidentally erase the heat erase pen. But you should iron your things as much as possible. I originally wanted all his buttons to be white, but I didn't have enough of the same shade of white, so oops, it's all rainbow now. I did the buttonholes by hand, incorrectly. I know how to do them better now, because my machine at the time was a beginner one I had since I was like 14, and I was scared of using the buttonhole setting. I marked where to put the buttons and sewed them on. Finished the edge, and painted on the collar stripes. It's quite ugly, isn't it? That's better. The final shirt is a very big improvement in my opinion. I used a smooth cotton instead of the puffy muslin. It's cropped so it doesn't interfere with the pants. The buttons are brown to match the stripes, which are now embroidered. I made the collar smaller and with white interfacing, and the inside sleeve fabric is black to emulate the manga art. Onto the As mentioned, I've never made one of these before, but luckily I have one in my closet. I just kind of stared at it for a while and made a pattern out of thin air. I'm pretty sure my phone died at some point and I didn't notice it until I already cut out the front piece. I couldn't figure out how to do the folds right, so I just did darts and ironed the seam allowances in one direction. Then to connect the side pieces, I measured the side pieces and marked out on the main piece. I cut out the back piece and baglined the whole thing. Finish the edge, buttonhole, and it's done. I did also make this out of muslin like the old shirt, but I didn't remake this because 1, it's not bad and not important enough, and 2, I made another thing with muslin and I was definitely not remaking that, so to have that other thing match, I kept the cummerbund. This is called a cummerbund, by the way. Okay, here's one. Burner snurch cummerbund. Yeah. Just like the bund, I took a tie I had and made a pattern from that. I probably could have just gotten both of those patterns from online and made them better, but this wastes a lot more time, so obviously I did that. I also cut out a lining. Don't do that. Don't line a tie, especially with such a puffy fabric. It can't tie. I had to undo all of this. Yeah, I've been doing this same motion for an hour and my hand is numb.
That's good, because I have something for you. Go in the yard and mow it. No, of course it hurts, but it's a different one.
Dumbass. The second tying test was also a fail. The tie was too wide. Now that it's functioning, it's time to add the embroidery. Last step is to learn how to tie a tie. I wouldn't recommend making a tie out of anything other than a satin or a slippery and non-wrinkly fabric. This cotton refuses to iron smooth. Sigma's pants are pants. They're quite simple looking except for the very strong front crease, which is why I wanted to make my own pattern with a front seam. Have I ever made pants? No. Have I ever even looked at a pant pattern? Obviously not. But it can't be that hard. It's pretty hard. But did I give up and download one? No. I used underwear instead. I should have first fit the boxers to myself and then do a mock-up, but I didn't do either of those things. This is the pattern I went with. Remember how I said this was months ago? Yeah, I have no idea what I was doing with the front. I just know I failed to add an elastic waistband somewhere in there. Hem the legs. Add a Velcro closure. Kosher is Velcro kosher. Replace the Velcro with a I can't say Velcro. Velcro. It's not Velcro. Oh yeah, Velcro. Replace the Velcro with a zipper, and done. For pants solely made from hubris, I say they're not bad. Am I proud of them? No, but they're comfy. Let's see, what am I missing? Ah, yes. His shoes. Simple enough. I have some old shoes my mother gave me that I can't wear because they are too big for me, and an Allen key collection I can pilfer for heel bones. I thought I could just rip off the sole, but there's a nail in there. RIP to my scissors. Your sacrifice was in vain. But while I was doing that, my phone died, so I took the opportunity to do some experimenting. First step is to cut off all the boot stuff, and we already have a flat Sigma shoe. Second is to attach the Allen key to the heel with wire, aluminum foil, and an obnoxious amount of hot glue. Then I glue on a random piece of wood I had as the thing Sigma shoes have between the front and the heel. And strengthen the bond of the key and wood with more wire. I bulk out the heel with cardboard, making sure it matches the other shoe. I don't have a saw to cut the wood into shape, but my dad does. To make the shoe more like Sigma's, I make the tip pointier with air dry clay and unify everything with a layer of paper mache. The two main things I had to fix are that my pinky toe was being squished and my arc was not supported. Here I'm making a pillow for the arc problem. I don't end up using it, but that's not important. How does this happen? Stitches. I decided to just glue down some fabric with scraps underneath it. For the straps, I had free rein since you never see them. I chose this belt because I have two of them. Use the woven part as the part that goes around my ankle, and the leather ends as the connection. I have used one of the belt's leather before as a choker for technically my first cosplay ever, Yuri Ayato. I wore it to Comic-Con, and I could see how people recognized the character. This was like 2022. Could see how people recognized the character, and then just the light in their eyes dying. Wish I could have been barefoot, but rules, man. Who needs shoes when you can just be gay, I guess? I don't know. Anyway, the shoes are now wearable. I added some more padding, but for some reason, this is the only picture I have of that. My toes were still being squished, so I cut up the front again. To cover all of this, I patterned a cover. To cover all of it, I made a cover. The fabric scrap padding was enough, so I bought some foam. Once I was happy with the feel, I sewed some of the tie fabric over it. then cleaned up the bottom. And did the same to the other shoe. These are surprisingly stable and more comfortable than I thought I could make them. I wish I could make shoes for all of my cosplay, but I'm not a shoe person, and I would never wear them. Not that I would wear these, but my goal is to make things I can wear normally too. Not this cosplay, but when I'm better at something. Intermission. It's intermission time. As a BSD expert, I have never actually consumed any of it. So let's call in the real experts and watch some anime.
Is this a good point to mention that I've never actually watched the show?
He sounds like he's 45 years old and a chain smoker.
Not ugly. Normally villains, like, imagine Fukuchi.
You're just like me for real.
So ugly.
He's doing this on purpose, right? Just like me for real.
I like that they're blue and red, and the guy that's with them is purple.
Oh,
Don't for real. What are you, Batman? Baby girl it is. What the fuck is this?
I have that.
Akihiko Like God isn't just another person, okay? A song that would be made for Shadow the Hedgehog. He has no depth perception anymore.
He has a memory loss.
That's for real.
Did you forget it?
Yes!
That was the Alpha Beta Omega.
I'm going back there. Why is the God a twink? Domain expansion.
Why is he your favorite character?
We know nothing about him. He has weird quirks and he reminds them of their own.
Okay.
So in the actual book, it's like a logical something.
Logical.
How did I knew.
Listen, if you hit people with memory loss really hard.
Yeah, they'll regain their memory. It works like Alzheimer's.
Because his partner was a fucking clone or whatever.
Oh, he's also Batman.
Girl, that's me.
No, we can never say the girl.
It's a tail.
I know.
He's a furry.
I know.
Hi, Nikolai. Hi, Julia. Hi, somebody.
Yes. Karl Marx. And I knew. You wanted me to kill this guy. How romantic. Oh. Oh. This is a little. I don't think we should be watching this. Yo, I am. The 5 illegals. Shut up, main character. I dyed my hair even though I cannot see it.
Said I'm not crazy. I trust him.
Why is he bald? Nothing personnel, kid. Moist? What?
He's talking about birds again.
Oh.
I want the right to be God.
He's the least likely to commit murder, that's why he's my least favorite. For Sushi, it shows character growth, how he went from an abusive environment to an actually supportive one.
He was also dreaming about Akutagawa. What does that tell us?
That she says gay. And I knew!
Akutagawa says, I am Diablo and
Murray's hot. And I don't like that.
He's also not that old yet, so why are you into it?
he's 40.
Yeah, right?
Yeah? Your point? Back arch. Why was he eating sand?
Because the writer is absurdist. That's the reason, of course. Not because he sucks or anything.
My clown's my circus? Get stabbed, idiot. Bro said I would kill myself right now, and she said, alright, bet. Oh, abilities work genetically in this world.
No.
Then what the fuck? What's up, bro? We've been framed. Do you want to help us commit an actual crime? Don't ask. He's gonna have another flashback. Oh my god. The 2 best characters in a room, what will they do?
One of them will
Maybe
have a
kiss?
mental breakdown.
Maybe kiss? Enemies to more homoerotic enemies. No! They love to jump to conclusions that are correct somehow. It's pronounced Luffy. Get bothered. Get claimed, idiot. He was arrested day 1.
He's like a grandma to me.
What? Sigma? I thought he was Jesus.
The real Jesus killed Fyodor.
Man's deserved it. Get fucked, idiot.
He's such a red cat.
He's such a bitch.
And people write him as alpha.
They do. Fuck your Wii remote, dude.
He calls himself Nick.
Sir, I accidentally stabbed that man. Sigma, shut the fuck up. And I knew! So true, bestie. He probably wrote down Desperate Mediocre Man, word for word, in the story.
We skipped the first 3 chapters.
I know.
And now Rampa's your favorite character.
Yeah.
And that's Rampa's backstory.
I don't care.
He's every gay man. He's a more evil gayer man.
Fuck your ideals.
Princess.
How do you increase the power of a sword? What
Yeah.
do you mean his sword can see the future? Why was he here?
Because that's what I said to the picture. I was like, knew that. They're just slightly getting gayer.
Get fucked by a rock, idiot. Ah, I didn't read that part. I can time travel, idiots. How did you know that? Would die if he ate a Cheeto. He is Emperor fucking Palpatine. BSD should have an idol arc.
Such a fanfiction boy.
And now you're threatening a child. This was really funny. Make more people kill themselves. And
I hate you guys.
enhance my ass, dude. We just don't see it, but he does hallucinate Dazai every single time he realizes. Stop flirting with him. He's just so delusional that he's actually smart.
He's the only one that makes sense.
He is, yeah. Why is it so fucking sticky over here?
Did you piss there?
You found out my secret. It's my piss corner.
It's like Sherlock, which is not a compliment.
We were totally related.
Oh, did he pick him because he's a mediocre man? Play it again, play it again, play it again, play it again.
I don't want to.
He's an orphan whose parents never taught him how to walk.
Guys being dudes.
Passing out in the middle of an active battlefield.
Look at how pathetic he is.
Get those feet off of my screen.
How wide?
Very.
Okay.
What if a pregnant woman kills Field?
Who is he hallucinating?
Who?
Who do you think?
Zeldin is a mixture of Fielder and Bram.
Sonia? What?
Yeah, you're
Turn to the light, my boy.
the sister's there?
Yeah, look at the screen.
Come on, Wolf. Thank you for objectifying him.
There's only one pedophile in the show.
This is crime. The other one is punishment.
Dumbass.
The power of gay is activated. So he's a calculator. Maybe he's Eve.
Can you stop moaning?
Fuck, I won't like that.
Can't even stand straight.
He has earrings?
Yeah.
His earrings were very easy. I wrote up some paper to get the base cone shape, paper mache'd that, and smoothed out the shape with some clay. With the clay, I add this wire bit I made that holds onto my ear. I paint them white, then black, then gold, and finish them off with a top coat. Last step is squirting hot glue on each end for optimal ear grabbing. They are quite loud. Loud. They are also loud. It's a paper wig. I made it in 2 days and it turned out a lot better than I thought it would. I was so committed to the bit of lying to the experts, saying I'm not making a wig, that I bleached my hair and dyed it somewhat purple with the anti-yellow stuff that comes with bleach. But I would have done that anyways, so I wasn't that committed. Following some tutorials, I made the base. And started marking different sections. For the long back strands, I glued some paper together and freehanded some lines for a more natural look. And then mostly ignored them, giving each strand a reverse taper. To hold them temporarily, I used the shittiest tape I own, but it was too shitty and just used regular tape instead. I did 2 layers of those and started with the short, more triangle-shaped hair. I chose to make a paper wig because look at him. It is literally paper. And I've always wanted to make one because it looks fun. And it was fun. I had fun. I do the middle part by overlapping wefts in a crisscross and give some a little trim. I didn't use purple paper because 1, I didn't have any, and 2, I wanted to watercolor the pieces to make it kind of look like the official manga art. So I did some swatching and landed on these 2. Time to tip, time to taint, time to taint, time to paint. For the top layer, I glue down the wefts before coloring them. To really make sure the wig stays the way I want it to, I glue the pieces to each other. And the final little touch is curling the ends, just for fun. Overall, I like it more than I thought I would, and it is very, very loud. It is time to make the final piece. His vest, jacket, coat thing. If you have ever crossed paths with me on the internet before, it probably would have been this video of me making a Kakyoin jacket. Or the femboy one, but that one's irrelevant. We're talking about how I make my patterns, which is with newspaper. It's like the duct tape patterning technique, but not for tight-fitting clothes. That being said, my Kakyoin jacket is vacuum sealed to my body. Speaking of which, hey JoJo fans, hey JoJo enjoyers on TikTok specifically, I know that we have like 2 whole jokes, but that still means we have 2 whole jokes. One is not enough. Also, I did that. I did the joke. Literally. It's my next video. I made the pattern without the tails first. Clean that up. and cut out the ass window. Then added the tails. I did a mock-up of this one, and I'm glad I did because the pattern needed so many changes. Especially because for some reason I thought I had to make the darts open at the bottom when I didn't. The second mock-up I made from the lining fabric, and it worked, so I can actually use this as the lining. The tails in the art are black, either as shading or because the lining is dark, doesn't matter, because like the sleeves, I wanted to emulate it either way. The outer fabric I chose was ever so slightly transparent, and I got it in my head that the lining needed to be white because it looked better under that fabric. So instead of just using a black fabric or dyeing just the tail part, I decided to paint it with fabric paint, because it doesn't completely see through to the other side, so that the other side is still white. Biggest regret of the whole cosplay. The difference between white and black fabric showing through this is barely visible, and the paint is plasticky and thick and splotchy, and overall around just bad. I didn't know what the white spots were supposed to be, so I asked the expert, and she said rhinestones. This was a good decision. A very time-consuming decision. Hand sewing these on took me like 3 days because I get bored easily. But I did it, and when I wore the cosplay on my birthday, the expert picked up one of the tails and said, and I quote, "That's so hot," so it was worth it. Still my least favorite part of the cosplay because of the paint. To finish the outer layer that I sewed together entirely off camera, I add the breast pocket. Now to sew the in and outside together. Remember to clip your corners before turning it inside out. Not that I forgot. I finished the armholes by folding in the seam allowances, making sure the lining is slightly further in so it doesn't show, and ladder stitching the fabrics together. For the collar, I made sure to have the interfacing on the top facing fabric for a more stable surface for the embroidery later. But that collar was too short, so I made another one where I didn't do that. Yeah, the embroidery doesn't look great. Sigma has bias binding all around the edges, but not on the inside, so my bias tape will be shorter on the inside, which is not how bias tape works. It's also not caught on the bias. I've never made or added binding to anything before, and considering that I made it wrong on purpose, I didn't do too bad. I couldn't find buttons that looked like his, so I made them myself since I had some extra resin supplies. As you have probably noticed, I have ferrets, and they are not allowed near anything resin, so I went to our attic where there was also space near a window. I mixed up way too much resin, so if anyone knows what to do with the hockey puck of cured resin, do let me know. I sanded the shit out of them because the clay one I made was very uneven. Drill 2 holes on opposite sides, paint them black, and top them off with the varnish. Last thing to do is add snaps and sew on the buttons in one last artistic montage. And with that, onto the glamour. Oh my god, I forgot the straps. Thank you for watching. If you would like to throw me some bones, I don't have a Patreon because this is my first video. So you sadly can't compensate me for having to think about and look at the same project for almost a year. I am so sick of this desperate, mediocre man. Welcome to the post-credit scene. Woo! Since this is my first video, I wanted to take a minute to introduce myself and kind of pitch my future project so you can gauge whether this is something you actually want to follow. Hi, my name is Dakota. I go by they, them, and my age is of no concern to you. This year I would first like to catch up on making videos on projects I've already completed. Here's a list. And then moving on to primarily doll customization. And then moving on to primarily doll customizing, at least for a while. And by doll customizing, I mean teaching myself Blender and how to use a 3D printer, sculpting my own BJDs, troubleshooting, making my 6 main OCs, and then making a very thorough tutorial on how. So you, yes you, can do it too. And then after that I'll go back to sewing or something. Or in between that, who knows? So if you're interested in any of that, consider subscribing. Fuck.